Kath. Welcome to my channel Made by Kath Craft. Thank you very much for joining me today. Whether you're an existing subscriber or new, I'm really glad to have you here. So today I'm going to be talking all about my 5 favourite jersey dress sewing patterns. I've done a couple of 5 favourite sewing pattern videos before, and I wanted to do a dress one next because I do love a dress. And so I had a think and I decided that I'd do jersey dresses because they're one of my favourite types of dress to wear. They're super comfy, and also as we're heading into kind of autumn winter weather, I think they're great for like layering up in winter and still feeling really comfy, but also can add a little bit of style to your outfit too. So I've got 5 patterns to share with you, and I'm really looking forward to taking you through them. When I talk about jersey fabrics, what I really mean is any sort of stretchy knit type fabric. So that includes cotton jersey, viscose jersey, French terry, sweatshirt fabrics. And the patterns I've got, I think different ones work well with different ones of those fabrics. So as I talk through the different patterns, I'll tell you which ones I think work best with which types of stretchy jersey and knit fabrics. So since I'm filming a vlog today all about jersey dresses, I thought I'd get one of my jersey dresses out. This is one of my older jersey dresses, and it's one of my favourites still. And it is my first favourite jersey dress pattern, which is from this book here, Lilly and Buttons stretch book, and it's the Freya dress. And I'll show you, here it is. So yeah, I love the Freya dress. It's just such a great pattern. It's a top and a dress, and this is the dress. It's got different necklines, and this one here in the line drawing is called a mock neckline. It's kind of like a very sort of a slight polo neck. This is the version I've got here. It's not like a full turtleneck polo neck, but just like a little higher neck. And then you can do a sort of 3/4 length or sort of actually elbow length sleeve or a long sleeve, and then it's got kind of like an A-line skirt to it. So quite a simple silhouette, but really effective. And it has different versions, and I'll talk to you a little bit about the different versions because I've made a different couple of versions. But what I like about the Freya dress is firstly, it's quite a simple silhouette, so you can it can take a busy pattern. The one I'm wearing today is in a navy pattern with little dragonflies on. And it's a cotton jersey. Because the Freya dress is quite tight and has quite a lot of negative ease, I think it will work best in a cotton jersey. Anything thicker, like a French terry, you might struggle to get it on because it really is fairly fitted all over. But yeah, this is one of my earlier patterns I made. I got this book for Christmas. I started sewing in about October, November 2018, and I got that for Christmas 2018. And I pretty much made about 3 in quick succession after I got this book because I love it so much. So this is my first version, as I said, just a standard mock neckline, long sleeves, and then it's got the little A-line skirt, as you can see here. And I'll put up a picture of me wearing it. But what I really love about the Freya is, as well as it being quite a simple classic shape, is it's really straightforward to make. So it's a great first jersey project if you wanted to sew a jersey dress. It's from, as I said, Lilly and Buttons stretch book, which really takes you through sewing with stretch fabrics and kind of hold your hand through. And there's some other projects before that you could try, but this is I think this is the first dress in the book possibly. But the great thing is, because it's got a stand-up neckline like this, the mock neckline, you don't have to worry about putting in a neckband and getting it to lie flat. The neckband goes in really well. And then other than that, it's just pretty much sewing up the seams and hemming. So it's quite a straightforward make. So it's quite quick and easy to do. And I love the top version too. I've got a few of those. But let me show you my different Freya versions. So I've made 2 of these mock neckline versions in the dress. And this is my first one. And then I also made this one. This is kind of like a fun print, and as I said, the Freya can take a busy print. So this one is covered in bees, which I think are quite cute. This one I made slightly longer than this version. It's a cotton jersey, again, I should have said, with a nice amount of stretch to be able to get it on. I think probably about 5% elastane or something like that. But yeah, this is the bee fabric, and I made this one slightly longer because I don't know what's happened with this version. I don't know whether it's because I've washed it a few times. I'm sure I pre-washed the fabric, but it seems to have got shorter and shorter, to the point now where, although I love it, I am contemplating chopping it off to a top because it is getting quite short. So this one I made a little bit longer to give it a little bit more life as a dress in case it shrunk a little bit too. But I'll put up a picture of me wearing it. It's the same mock neckline, long sleeves, and just in a different fabric. Had a bit of fun with the bee print. That's that one. The next one I made was in a different neckline, and I'll show you the neckline from in the book. So you can either make the Freya with the mock neckline, which I showed you, or there's also turtleneck option, sorry, roll neck option, which is here, which is just a slightly higher neckline, so really cosy for winter. And I think that would be great in a viscose jersey, because that would have a nice amount of drape and would be nice and comfy for a roll neck version. Or there's this version here, which is the one I've made, which is the cowl neck version. And I do love a cowl neck. I think it's a really nice feature to a dress, and nice and snuggly too. So it's kind of like a drapey lower neckline. And it kind of, you make it in this kind of funnel shape, and it goes in again really nicely because you don't need to get it to lie flat, because it kind of comes up and then sort of sits down. So I made that in this beautiful fabric. I love this fabric. Excuse me, it's been folded in my drawer. It's got a few fold lines. It's a tulip fabric on a red base, and I got this from Stof Stil. And this was one of my earlier fabric purchases, and I didn't want to use it until I'd had a couple of goes of making the Freya. So I had a couple of goes of making it and then decided I'd go for a bit more of a standout version with this cowl neck. So it kind of sits like this, kind of snuggling down. It's hard to show it on here, but I'll put a picture up of me wearing it so you can see it on. But I love this version, and the cowl neck makes it extra cosy. And you do need a little bit more fabric for the cowl neck because it's double-sided. But actually it goes in really nicely, and again it's quite a straightforward make, but I think the Freya really looks so effective for such a simple make. So those are my kind of classic Freya versions, and I also have made one hacked version, again in this kind of fun fabric. This came from First Fabrics, and I bought that thinking this would be quite a fun dress to wear for Valentine's Day with all the little hearts on. And this version is the Freya A-line skirt at the bottom, but I hacked it to combine it with the Agnes top. And the Agnes top is this one here by Lilly and Buttons. Again, so it's kind of a scoop neck top with a neckband. And it was quite easy, I hacked it by just marrying the lines from the Agnes top into the Freya skirt and turning it into a dress. I'll put a picture up of me wearing it again. But it's a nice version. It's a little bit less cosy because of this version, so it's quite nice for a slightly warmer day. And I've got a lot of wear out of this one. And I think it would look great with short sleeves for a kind of summery style dress too. And so that's that one, my Freya Agnes hack. But yeah, the Freya dress is lovely. I haven't made any recently actually, I think because I got a bit excited making a few versions when I first got the pattern. I've got plenty, so I haven't needed to make any more, but I'm sure at some point another cotton jersey type fabric will really grab me and I'll be making another one. But it's a lovely dress, and also great as a top too, so I'd really recommend that pattern if you want to sew something really straightforward and quick as a jersey dress from Stretch by Lilly and Buttons, the Freya dress. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say about the Freya pattern was just in terms of sizing. I've always made the straight size 2 for this pattern. My hips I think fall slightly larger than a size 2 towards a size 3 size, and I often do grade out on woven patterns, Tilly patterns where they're more fitted, where you want the ease around the hips. But I find for the Freya dress it just sits fine. It kind of the A-line shape just kind of skirts over my hips. And also I guess I generally find for stretch, working with stretch fabrics, that's one of the benefits of them, is that there is a bit more wiggle room on the sizing. The sizing's slightly less critical just because there is that stretch and that ease to the fabrics. So I just thought I'd mention that on the sizing. The next pattern I wanted to share with you is one I've been reaching for quite a lot now the weather's got a bit chillier. And it's just a perfect day dress for when it is getting colder. And it's this one here. It's the Molly top and dress by Sew Over It. So it's part of the Sew Over It City Break ebook. It's a capsule wardrobe with about 5 or so, I think, patterns in. And I haven't actually made any other patterns in here. I pretty much bought this ebook for the Molly top and dress because I'd seen a few versions and I really liked it. So the Molly top and dress is a quite a straightforward, sort of almost like a t-shirt dress or top. It's got drop shoulders here and quite a relaxed fit. And yeah, you can make it as a top or a dress. It's just quite a straightforward sew. Comes together really nicely. And I just really like it. There's a couple of pictures here of Lisa Comfort wearing a top version and a dress version. So it works really well with stripes because it kind of have a play with the stripe direction around the neckline and over the shoulders and the sleeves. And I just really like it. It's so casual, so comfy, and I'll show you my versions. So the first version I made was in stripes, inspired by the pattern itself. And I made it in this fabric here. It's a loop back jersey, so you can see it's kind of got the loops in it. A loop back jersey. I can't remember where I got it from, but I've seen this around quite a bit, and it's in a navy with a mustard stripe. So I made the neckline, played with the neckline and made the stripes a different way, and then I've got this sort of stripe matching, which is always a bit of a challenge, down the sleeves. And it's, as I said, it's quite a relaxed fit. It's not a tight fitting dress, so I think a cosier fabric like French terry works really well with it. But equally, you could make it with a more of a lighter weight cotton jersey fabric if you wanted a dress that would work better for sort of springtime or when it's not quite so chilly. But this is perfect for this weather because it's really nice and cosy. I often wear it with a t-shirt underneath and a pair of thick tights, and it keeps me warm all day. That's my first version, this stripy one. I'll put a picture up of me wearing it. And I made this, the sizing of this, I made it in the smallest size. I think Sew Over It sizing doesn't go down quite as small as some pattern companies. So their smallest size is a UK size 8, which is for a bust of 33, a waist of 26 and a hips of 36 inches. So that's about my measurements. And it fits me nicely. As it isn't designed to be tight fitting, it is a more looser, relaxed style, so it's really comfy. But that's my first version. And then my second version I made in another loop back jersey, as you can see the loop back jersey there. This is one of my, these are a couple more of my earlier makes, there's no overlocking there. That's before I got my overlocker. And I made it in this floral jersey, which is floral French terry loop back jersey, which is really lovely and soft. Yeah, just I like how they're both really different to each other, because one's quite a floral one and one's quite sort of yeah, stripy, and they're both just really comfy, get a lot of wear out of them, just a great day dress, and they sew up really quickly because again it's just quite a lot of straight seams. The only thing with the Molly dress is putting the neckline in, and I've had a few it's not always easy to get it in, I find. I guess with French terry there's a slightly different stretch to it, but what I do when I'm making putting jersey neckbands in generally is I baste them in first to see how they sit before I actually sew them in properly with the overlock or with a zigzag stitch, just to save me having to unpick a zigzag stitch or an overlock stitch if it doesn't sit quite flat. So I usually baste it in and try it. So it's a bit more tricky on that front on putting the neckband in, but once you've got the neckband in it's really straightforward. And I love the top version too, and I think for the top version there'll be a lot of options for fabric. You could have a viscose jersey to make a drapey one, or a cotton jersey, so there's a few different options. But yeah, I do like my snuggly French terry ones for a wintry dress. The next pattern I wanted to share with you is one that I think is really an all year round pattern. It works so well for summer and also for winter too, and I just think it's one of the most effective jersey dress patterns I've come across, and it's this one here. It's the Kayello wrap. I don't know whether you say Kayello or Kielo wrap dress by Named Clothing. So that's the line drawings, which show you how it works. It's basically a wrap dress. You can make it in jersey fabric, although it can work in woven too, so it's one of those rare patterns that can work in either. But I think I've made it always in jersey. And you basically, it folds out like this, so it's almost like a flying squirrel style look, and then you wrap it around you to provide, to make a kind of really cool silhouette with the straps. And here's the model on the front just showing how it looks. There, that's that there. So this pattern, as you can see, is a sleeveless version. So Named originally marketed the pattern just as a sleeveless version, as a dress, and then they had a free PDF sleeve add-on on their website, which I got. But they've now re-released the pattern, and it's now added sleeves in, and also a jumpsuit version. So there are more options now. And then they've also added in different neckband options, which I'll mention as I talk about my versions. So if you're getting the pattern now, it won't look exactly like this because there are more options added in instead. But yeah, so I'll talk about my versions. As I said, it's one of these patterns I think really works for all year round. So I'll show you 3 different styles. And the first one was my summer version, which is the first version I made. And I made it in this viscose jersey, which is quite drapey, which works well for the Kayello, with short sleeves. So just kind of standard as per the pattern. So it's got these darts at the front, which add shaping, which I really like. And then it's got a join down the back because there's a slit at the bottom. So there's a slit at the bottom of the dress you can see here, so that you can actually walk in it without your legs looking like a penguin. And then it's got the straps here, And I really like it in the stripy fabric because when you wrap it round, you get a lot, the stripes all work in different ways, and I think it looks quite effective and geometric and quite cool. So that was the first version I made in the viscose jersey, that's just a standard version per the pattern. I think I made it in a size 2. Named have their they have European, US and UK sizes. I think I made it in US size 2, UK size 6. But again, this one particularly, I think that the fit is not too critical because you wrap it round, so you can wrap it tighter or looser anyway. So yeah, I think I probably could have done a size 0 or a size 4 as well, and it would have been probably just fine. Yeah, I made the size 2, and the neckline, I think they've now added a neckband piece to their pattern to put in, but I made this just by turning the neckband, the fabric under for the neckband, and luckily it doesn't come out gapey, it sits really well, but I'll show you my other version which doesn't sit quite as well, but that's what I did for that version, and it's full length, and it's lovely for summer because it's kind of keeps me cool with the sleeveless option, but it covers my legs up to avoid them burning, and I just really like that version, so perfect for summer, a jersey dress. My next version I made was in one of my favourite fabrics that I bought, this lovely ice cream fabric. This is an art gallery jersey, so it's super soft, really lovely jersey, and I bought, I couldn't resist this really, so I decided to make this with sleeves, and I made a short sleeve version, so it's another sort of summery dress, but slightly more covered up here. Again, it's got the straps, and I made this into a shorter version, so it just sits above the knee. I'll put a picture of me wearing it so you can see how this one looks too. With this one, I used the turning under around the neckline again, but unfortunately it didn't come out quite as well as my first version, so it doesn't sit as flat, which is a bit disappointing. But as I said, the new pattern has got a neckband added in, which I think would prevent that happening. But I still love it. I love the fabric. It's a really nice summery one. And I think it's just really effective when you tie it around. I think it creates a really lovely shape. So that's my second version of the Kayello wrap. Oh, I meant to mention actually, this one's a little bit more of a complicated construction than the first 2 jersey dresses I mentioned, just because there are darts to be added in. There are darts at the front for the bust, and there are also darts at the back to pull in the back slightly. So it's kind of one for kind of upping your skills a little bit if you're making a jersey dress. And the neckband, obviously, the neckline obviously takes a bit of work too. But other than that, again, once you've got the kind of darts in and the neckband in, it's pretty much plain sailing. The only other thing I'd mention is it recommends interfacing the straps, and I didn't realise at first that you can get special, probably you might know already, but you can get special knit interfacing, which is slightly stretchy but still provides some structure. So I definitely recommend that, because trying to sew stretch fabric with a non-stretch interfacing does not work very well. I've learned from experience. So, but yeah, that's my second version, another summery one. And I've also made one wintry version in this slightly more wintry fabric, which is a leopard print with kind of gold glitter. Oh, I should have said the art gallery ice cream fabric is a cotton jersey, and this one's a cotton jersey also. I think you wouldn't want to sew the Kayello in anything thicker, it would be far too bulky. But yeah, viscose jersey, cotton jersey, and also some woven fabrics can work for it. And the woven fabrics work, I think, because of the shape of it. You don't really need to worry about being able to fit it over your head. But equally, if you added the sleeves in, then that might not work in the woven jersey. Sorry, the woven fabric, because they'd be too tight. But for the sleeveless version, that'll be fine, I think, in a woven fabric too. But yeah, so this is my final version, and this one, instead of just turning under the fabric around the neckline, I used I made some stretch binding to put in, and that worked really well. So that gives a really nice flat neckline, and that is also detailed in the pattern, and it worked just much better. So I definitely recommend that version if you've got the old style pattern before they re-released it with the neckband. But for this version, my wintry version, I made it above the knee again, because I thought it'd be more practical, and I made a 3/4 length sleeve. And this one's kind of like a dressy dress, I guess. I'd probably wear it more for a meal out in the evening than in the daytime. But I'd love to make another version that's more of a day dress version, because I do love the Kayello dress. The only other thing I wanted to mention about the Kayello is it does take quite a lot of fabric, just because of the shape of it. Because it's quite a wide shape. It does take quite a lot of fabric, So you can pop them like this, lay them out like this if it's a non-directional print. But for my ice cream fabric, I needed more of it because it's directional. I couldn't lay them opposite ways up on the fabric. They both had to go up the same way. So definitely would recommend thinking about how much fabric you need and whether you have a directional print when you're thinking about this one. But that's my last version. As I said, I'll put a picture up, and that's the Kayello wrap, a great jersey dress that works in all seasons and I think is really effective and gives lovely shaping around the waist with the ties. Oh, and I forgot, I actually made one more version of the Kayello wrap dress, and I don't know how I managed to forget this one because I actually made it this year, whereas the other ones are all slightly older makes. But I made it in this cool pink fabric. It's a little bit crumpled because I've just folded it up to put in my to put away from summer. But yeah, this cool pink fabric, again with the binding neckline so it sits nicely in the short sleeves. Yes, it's quite bright and funky, this fabric. I got it from Material Girl Laura. I think I got a remnant, just enough to squeeze out this dress. Yeah, it kind of cheers me up when I wear this one because it's so bright and jolly. So when I wore it during the lockdown in the summer, it really cheered me up because it was so bright. But yeah, that's my final version, another short sleeve version, and I'll put a picture up again so you can see that one too. But that's the Kayello wrap dress by Name Clothing, my third favourite jersey dress sewing pattern. My next favourite jersey dress sewing pattern is one of my earliest things I sewed, and this is kind of before I came across the indie pattern companies and when I was very new to sewing. And it's this one here, so it's a Big Four pattern company, McCall's M7561. And I think you might have, I might have mentioned this before in my previous vlogs, if you've seen, because I do often wear my M7561 dresses, a bit of a mouthful. But it's basically a jersey dress and it's got loads of lovely options that come with it. It's a gathered skirt dress and you can do it with kind of like a standard t-shirt top. It has a cool scoop back option, sleeves and or sleeveless, lots of different variations with like a long skirt or a short skirt. And it's just a great, I think, basic go-to jersey pattern if you want a jersey dress with a gathered waist. So I thought I'd show you my versions. The first versions I made were two almost identical ones in a jersey bed sheet because I got some really nice fabric I wanted to sew with on this, but because I was so new to sewing and also hadn't really sewed with jersey at all before, I decided to have a go and make a couple of toiles. So I made a couple of versions to practice my skills in this navy jersey bed sheet that I bought. And this is one of the versions, and it's just a short sleeve version with a nice scoop neck, yeah, just a little skirt, gathered waist. And actually I've got loads of wear out of this one, much more than I thought, because it came out better than I expected. Yeah, it's just quite a classic t-shirt dress really. So I like it. It's similar to the Kayello wrap in that the neckline you just turn under and sew, so there's no neckband. So I think now I've sewed a bit more, I think if I made this again, I probably would add in either, I'd probably make the neckline with a neckband or maybe some jersey binding to make sure the finish comes out okay. But luckily this actually did sit really flat. I think that was just by fluke rather than anything else. That was my first version, just a very simple t-shirt dress, and I'll put a picture up of me wearing it. And I also made a version very similar to this but with a longer sleeve, again in the jersey fabric. And then once I'd had a couple of goes like that, I decided to try the real fabric, which is this lovely cotton jersey. I think this is a kind of classic jersey dress, would suit a cotton jersey really, that's the perfect fabric for it. And it's this kind of nautical fabric with kind of these ropes on it in navy. And again, it's got the scoop neck, and this time I made it with a long sleeve. And it's quite tight fitting, and I'll put a picture of me wearing it, and yeah, I like it. I find nowadays I'm much more familiar with kind of the way indie pattern companies write their instructions, so I don't use as many of the Big Four pattern company patterns, but I do like this one. I think for sizing I went for a size 8 to 10, so a size small rather than extra small, and I think I might have needed to take in the sides a little bit, but the nice thing is the way you make it is you make the bodice before you add on the skirt, so once you've kind of sort of sewn the bodice you can always make a little adjustment to any of the seams you want, like say take in the side seams if you need before you attach the skirt, and then the skirt gathers on, so if you have made an adjustment to the side seams on the top it shouldn't make a difference when adding the skirt, so it's quite good that you can adjust it at that stage, which makes it a little bit easier. And McCall's describes this as a pattern for the beginner, and I'd say it's a pattern for a confident beginner, firstly because it's using stretch fabric, which can be a bit more challenging to sew with than woven fabric, because it can stretch out of shape and that sort of thing. But also because it's got techniques in like gathering with the skirt. Yeah, but it's a lovely jersey dress, and I think I'd like to have a go of a couple more versions. I haven't got this pattern out for a while, but yeah, I would like to have a go of a couple of the other versions. The scoop back option I think is quite a nice one for summer particularly, and this is another pattern that does really work well all year round, because you can make a straightforward t-shirt dress for summer or a long sleeve version for winter. And I've made one other version, which is a summery version in short sleeves, in this kind of like, I kind of think of it, I guess it's leopard print, but it kind of makes me think of a cowl print, I don't know why, because of the colours. In this cotton jersey again, it's just a kind of, yeah, just a standard t-shirt dress style one. And I've got loads of wear out of this one. It's really practical for, you know, days out with the children. It's nice and stretchy and comfy. And I guess it would work quite well in winter as well with a cardi and tights too, so it's quite flexible. But yeah, I made that one other version. What I did want to mention in relation to this pattern is I've made one quite similar dress without using this pattern by hacking the Tilly and the Buttons Agnes top, because that has quite a similar shape to the top. It's got kind of this scoop neck and sort of fitted bodice, and Tilly and the Buttons have done a tutorial on their website of how you can add a gathered skirt to the Agnes top to make it into a dress. So if you have the Agnes top pattern, you wouldn't necessarily need to get this pattern if you wanted to make a basic jersey dress. The Agnes top and Tilly's tutorial could make you something similar. And this is my version I made. I just kind of decided to make it just for fun, and also because I was using this is another art gallery cotton jersey, so it's really lovely but quite pricey. I got it for my birthday, and I didn't want to muck up the neckline, so I used the Agnes top because it's got a neckband and I knew I could get that to sit nice and flat. So I made a long sleeve version with a gathered skirt, but I'll put the details of the tutorial down below. Just I thought I'd mention in case you have that pattern. It's quite another similar way of getting a jersey dress. And I'll put a picture up of me wearing this so you can see it ends up with quite a similar shape to the M7561. Final pattern I wanted to share with you as part of my 5 favourite jersey dress sewing patterns is a little bit different, and that's why I wanted to share it, because I like that it has a bit of a different edge to it. And it's a Zadie dress by Tilly and the Buttons. So it's a panelled jersey dress, so it has quite a few more pieces than the average jersey dress. And I'll show you the line drawings. You can make a cap sleeve version or a long sleeve version. It's got pleats and it's got hidden pockets sitting in the skirt, which are quite big, so they're quite practical, and quite a swishy skirt. And also it's an empire line waist, so it sits slightly higher. But yeah, it's really nice. Lots of options for colour blocking, as you can see from these pictures here. And it's a bit more of a challenging make, just because there are a lot more pieces to put together and make sure they all sit right, so it ends up being nice and even and symmetrical. And there's pivot points to match, particularly at the front of the bodice, which can be a little bit tricky and require quite a lot of precision. So I'll show you my versions. It's another dress that works well for winter with the long sleeves and summer with the cap sleeves. And the first version I made was a wintry version in this jersey. I'm not sure, it's a leopard print and black, and I'm not sure if the leopard print is a cotton jersey. I think it might have a bit of polyester content. It was an earlier fabric I bought, an earlier dress I made. So yeah, I colour blocked this dress and I really like it. I think I saw this colour block, leopard print and black, on a blog, which inspired me. So I had to make this version. I can't remember where the blog was. It was a sewing fabric shop. I'll see if I can remember. But yeah, I just think it's really a nice one for winter. I made this when I was quite early in my sewing journey, and I did find it a challenge, particularly matching up all the little points to make sure they all sit neatly around the front of the bodice. But luckily it came out just about okay, and I'm still wearing it. I made this in a size 2 and it came out slightly large, which is unusual for Tilly and the Buttons patterns, because size 2 usually fits me bang on. But I was quite new to sewing, so it might have ended up slightly bigger, maybe through how I ended up sewing all the pieces together. And the second version I made more recently, which came together a lot better, I made this in a size 1, which seems to fit okay. It's this summery version. This time I didn't go for colour blocking, I just went for all in this beautiful fabric from Lamazi fabrics. It's another cotton jersey. I think that Tilly and the Buttons say for this pattern, it needs a medium weight stretch knit such as ponte, double knit, interlock or jersey. I don't think you want to make this in anything too drapey, because I don't think all the panel pieces will sit well. It needs a bit of structure to hold them together and show the shape and the detail. So yeah, this is a cotton jersey which works well, and I made a short sleeve version, and I quite like how the kind of empire waist and the swishy skirt give it a little bit of a skater dress type vibe. So I wore this a lot in the summer with trainers, and it was really practical for running around after the kids. And I'll put a picture of it up of me wearing this one too so you can see it. But yeah, I really like the Zadie dress. It's a little bit different, and it's a bit more for someone who'd like to stretch themselves with a stretch sewing pattern. So yeah, but I just think it's quite effective with all the different panels. That's my 5 favourite jersey dress sewing patterns. But I just actually wanted to sneak one further pattern in there because I couldn't not mention it because it's such a great jersey dress pattern. And it's this one here. It's the South Bank sweater dress by Nina Lee London. It comes as a sweater and a sweater dress. I haven't included this as one of my top 5 because I recently filmed a top 5 sweatshirts vlog, which I'll put a link to up here. And I included the sweatshirt, Nina Lee South Bank sweatshirt in there, and it seems a bit unfair to include it twice. But I thought I'd mention it because it's the perfect pattern for a winter jersey dress. It's got a nice high neck, cosy, it's kind of cosy, looser fit with cuffs and a band at the bottom, and you can have pockets too. So it's really practical and cosy for winter. And I've made 2 versions, and I thought I'd just show you them. This version here is in this amazing Mind the Maker chevron sweatshirt fabric. It's really cosy and snuggly, and I made this version with pockets, and I'll put a picture up of me wearing that one. And then I've also made a version of this lovely fleecy backed sweatshirt fabric with kind of, it's like navy with little speckles on it. I didn't make this one without pockets, just for variety. So I made 2 versions of that, and they're super duper cosy, and it's a really straightforward sew as well. No neckband to get to sit flat. It's fairly straightforward. So I thought I'd just mention that as an extra bonus jersey dress sewing pattern in case you're looking for something really wintry and cosy. That's the one for you. But yes, that kind of concludes my 5 favourite jersey dress sewing patterns plus one sneaky extra. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, then do let me know down below. Yeah, I hope it's given you some inspiration either for some sort of snuggly winter sweater dresses for jersey, or maybe for some summery t-shirt dress style options for next year. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll be back with another vlog again soon. Bye bye!